Pixie people here, and we're just gonna cover the beer start. You already knew that, but okay. Let's get into it. Not gonna lie, Yamcha did slack a bit on his training, but definitely did not give it up. He definitely continued to train. Not as vigorously as he did during the Cell and the Blue arc. He still has his ultimate form, he's basically still has Kaioken, but that's basically just a fleeting power. But he does feel like he needs to get some. He feels like he's just training, but he's not gaining anything from the training. Sure, his power level is going up and up, but what's the point of that if it doesn't really give me anything? Does it give him something, doesn't it? Until he's invited to Bulma's party. He goes, meets up with his old friends in his white gi. He's talking to everyone. That is until a random cat shows up. Catman. He introduces himself as Beerus, the god of destruction, and his advisor, Whis, the angel. They don't care. And since oh yeah, it still happens where Beerus gets mad at Fat Boo because he eats all the pudding, and so Beerus gets mad and decides to just wreck everyone. Yamcha, already seeing the threat of Beast taking out Tien, Piccolo, and Vegeta, really not Vegeta moving means this guy's pretty strong. So Yamcha goes all power. He even does like he freaking three levels his power ups. First he goes into Kaioken times 200, then his beast form, then he goes to ultimate form. It's very big right now. Beerus actually looks in like in a curious look because that's a big high power level, and he's in godly power with that. So Beerus puts his hand up, actually puts the chopsticks down, and says, "Bring it." Mostly because other people were powering up into their biggest forms, but Yamcha didn't. So he just sprints towards Beerus. Beerus actually has to block a punch. Hits him with a flick, which pushes him back a bit, but he catches it. He's okay. So he flies around Beerus, hits his ears, but that doesn't really do a lot of damage. And then Yamcha gets hit by the Beerus's tail. It's two strikes, and he's almost feeling like he's out of ammunition. So he just decides to use his strongest attack. So he powers up even further by like Kaioken times 2020 times 220. So he's able to grab onto Beerus' tail for like 2 seconds until Beerus gets tired, shoots Yamcha, but Yamcha already threw him in the air. He's already shot by it, but he eats it, and then he opens his wolf maw and then hits him with a mouth cannon. It's almost as strong as the Kamehameha, but slightly weaker. Mostly because it's coming from the mouth and not his palms. Beerus gets surprised by it, but he just cancels it out with a freaking with his fist, just his fist, not his hand, his fist. Then it just implodes, and then Yamcha just flies up there to fight Beerus, and then Beerus finally learns Yamcha's moveset, and he just can't hit. Then Yamcha can't hear Beerus anymore and then Beerus ter- teleports behind Yamcha and gacks him on the neck, grabbing him by his fur and then throwing him to the boat, putting a hole through the top of it. Beerus looks not impressed, but entertained slightly. He actually wipes his hand on himself, just to show that Yamcha did put up a fight towards Beerus. Definitely not the point Goku's about to do. Yeah, Goku shows up, runs up, and then the Shenron for the Super Saiyan God technique. This is right when Yamcha shows up, and then sees the god of the Super Saiyan God ritual happen. Everyone turns into Super Saiyans, or Pan. Videl turns into a Super Saiyan, which confuses Yamcha. Then Goku becomes a god, and then scraps the Beerus. Yamcha doesn't know that he has to let Goku have his fight. This isn't like Boo. At the end, Beerus comes back, beating beating Goku, saying he's impressed and he won't blow up the planet. Well, obviously, a couple days later, Vegeta asks Whis if he could train with Beerus. This inspires Yamcha sees this because he was visiting Bulma, you know, to console her on her broken boat. Yeah, him getting flinged through it kind of made it about to sink, so everyone had to get off it or it was gonna sink. Everyone. Sorry about that. Afterwards, this. Whis is about to bring Vegeta out, but Yamcha shows up asking if he could go because he really has nothing else to do. It seems like it'd be fun to train with gods. Whis just says, "Do you have food?" Then he basically just pulls out pudding he was gonna give to Bulma. It's the exact same kind that Boo was eating. And then Whis is like, "Of course," and then puts his hand on his shoulder and then teleports away. With Vegeta, and Vegeta being annoyed that Yamcha's coming. He shows up, and then Yamcha asks where's Beerus, and Whis says he's taking a nap. He'll wake up eventually. Better be quiet though. I'll teach you how to keep him asleep. After a couple weeks, they did learn how to keep Beerus asleep. Eventually, Goku shows up to ask why Vegeta was leaving him behind, and then eventually Goku messes up and wakes Beerus up, which frustrates Yamcha and Vegeta, more Vegeta than Yamcha. And then they are told to lift the heavy weights. Yeah, it's difficult for all of them. I wouldn't say Yamcha had a better time than either of the two. They are training with gods, by the way, so God Ki is coursing through a bit of their veins. So they walk the whole thing and are completely exhausted. At close to the end of the week, because that thing was heavy. Eventually, uh, eventually, Vegeta turns into a Super Saiyan God. With Yamcha being confused, does he have Ki? But then he just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how he's gonna unlock God Ki. But at least he'll get strong while doing it. At least he'll get stronger fighting gods. He might not get God Ki, but hey, wait. Why can only Goku and Vegeta get God Ki, but I can't? Which Whis then explains, well, you can, you just have to train harder. As you can see, they're training much harder than you, Yamcha. Just push it harder, and then you'll probably get it. Then, then Yamcha does say he'll do his best. And so later that night, he actually is doing more of those laps with the heavyweight. Yamcha just keeps going and going. Yamcha has to train harder than the gods to get God Ki. Obviously, it's gonna hurt a bit and his arms are gonna get freaking melting. But he keeps going. He's pushing through it. But but eventually, in the middle, later that day, Yamcha uh, body starts to flare up in a huge amount of ki. Then Yamcha just burst into then he burst into I don't know what to call it because he's not a Super Saiyan God. I Yeah, let's say his hair grows. Let's say his fur poofs out and he grows a tail, and then it's called none of his like big beast transformation. but he just has Super Saiyan 4 fur and a tail. But this tail is much longer than the original, basically as long as Beerus's. So it turns out he turned into the uh, basically how Beerus transformation. We don't. Let's say Beerus didn't have a tail, and he actually grew a shell with his godly abilities, which impresses Whis because only Beerus has done that. Well, all the uh, other gods of destruction have done it that aren't Saiyans. Yeah, of course there have been a couple Saiyan gods of destruction because they're pretty good at the whole destruction thing. Let's just say Yamcha grows a tail like Beerus. And that tail, it stays there. It can't be removed or it will actually make Yamcha bleed. Yeah, he grew a whole new limb from how much he was training. So, Yamcha has discovered God Ki. A human using God Ki, which gives Beerus a bit of concern that Whis is handing out so much godly power just for some pudding. Until he eats the pudding and then he just completely forgets about it. Then he just completely forgets. And afterwards, well, Frieza attacks. Obviously, Yamcha's still on the planet, so he's not there. That is until Goku uh, says that Frieza's attacking, so they just head out. They get there to find uh, Piccolo about to kill himself, so Yamcha just steps in front and just smacks the crap out of that crap. Yes, they went there earlier. Don't know why. As soon as Vegeta kills Ginyu again, after he reveals himself that he became Ginyu, then Frieza starts scrapping. He's losing, if you're wondering. So he turns into his golden form. It starts clapping up all of them. Beerus is Goku gets shot. Then Yamcha actually runs straight in front of Frieza and hits him with a wolfing fist. Kicks him in the air, uses a spirit bomb, and starts freaking flying around yeah, around Frieza, keeping him off the ground, knowing damn well he could blow up the planet. Especially since Krillin has told him about, and Gohan have told him about how Frieza's blown up, how he blew up planet Namek. So he just keeps him off the ground until Vegeta move runs straight in, ruining Yamcha's concentration to his spirit bomb. So eventually Goku shows up with his Kamehameha. Well, it hits, but actually no. Then Frieza gets mad and tries to blow up the Earth. But Yamcha cuts off his arm with his now key sword. Yep, Yamcha learned the key sword. Vegeta also knows it, but he didn't want to show it off. But Yamcha does, and he uses it, cutting Frieza's arm off, hurting him. But he has to eat it, and then he just punches the ground with his other fist. But Vegeta cuts that one off, so Frieza's now disarmed. And then Goku shows up and then just incinerates him with a Kamehameha. And then Frieza dies again. But then Vegeta takes out both Frieza's arms, so incinerates them as well. Just in case they try reviving him out of, like, blood or something. He doesn't know. He was part of the Frieza Force for a bit. Maybe they could do that now. How are we doing on time? Wow, that's a pretty short part. I don't know what the next part is. Oh yeah, the Goku Black arc. I don't want to do that right now, so Well, that's gonna leave things around now. Peace, bros. See you on Friday.